One of the most inspiring cheese stories to emerge from Vermont is that of Spring Brook Farm, a traditional dairy farm in Reading that combines cheese making with a unique children's education program.
Spring Brook Farm is conserved by Vermont Land Trust. We're set up as an education program. It's home to the Farms for City Kids Foundation, where we've been working with inner city youth for over 20 years. We're incorporating their school academics into everyday farm life, primarily working with middle school age children, completely free of charge. So we work with the inner city schools. They come up, they arrive on a Monday, they depart on a Friday, and it's an eye-opening experience. Many of the kids never see the green hills or the grass, and they get off the bus and they just kind of look all around at the farm and they're completely amazed. The farm is about 1,000 acres. A lot of it is pasture and hay fields. A good portion of it is what we call sugar bush, where we make our own maple syrup. And that's it, man. It's wide open green space. I've gotten letters from parents saying, the week at the farm, my daughter insists that we sit around the table and we eat as a family, not in front of the TV. So, it can be the smallest lesson for one child, but it can be a completely life-changing lesson for a whole family. I've had teachers tell me that they've learned so much at the farm, they've taken it back to the classroom. And, they'll bring 20 kids here, but their whole way of teaching has now changed. And now they're affected hundreds of children. Right over here is where we raise our calves. They do a lot of barn chores. They measure the grain. They break everything down into fractions. They make the milk replacer. They're inside now. They're scrubbing. We do a lot of respect, a lot of animal care. So they're in there scrubbing and sanitizing and making sure that the environment that the calves are raised in are clear and clean.
The dairy produces cheese only from the rich raw milk collected from the farm's herd of very pampered Jersey cows. And Ellie and I caught up with the director, Jeremy Stevenson, to learn more about the dairy's washed rind cheeses.
Our philosophy in terms of making cheese is that as raw milk cheesemakers, we're going to adapt to the milk. We're not going to adapt the milk to what we want it to do. So we're working with seasonal milk and also variations in the conditions outside, so the weather has a great influence on our milk. We like to have this cheese at about 3.5 to 4 months, ideally.
And is this working for you as a flagship cheese these days, or is it still the Tarentaise?
We're selling more Reading than we are Tarentaise. We have a set limited amount of Tarentaise.
Right. Whereas this is, you can make quicker to turn around.
Absolutely.
That's lovely. It's got a really fudgy texture and savoury. And you really get that.
Tiny bit meaty as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get that washed rind flavour through it.
So this cheese melts beautifully too. The way we make it results in a cheese. It's great on a cheese plate, but it melts beautifully.
Well, it's a sort of raclette.
It's a raclette style.
Yeah.
This is going to be around 14 months.
Wowee. Taste explosion. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Really, really lovely.
Thank you.
What? How do you describe it? Kaleidoscope of sugar, salt.
Sweet. It's almost a bit juicy, like apple-y, I don't know. Yeah, pineapple, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the flavors have really changed. It's like a completely different cheese by the time it reaches this age.
And this is all raw milk cheese.
Yes.
How are you finding the FDA are handling that?
We have a pretty rigorous food safety plan and program in place. We haven't had any problems with our cheeses. We test and we test. But the fundamental answer for us in terms of food safety is having a plan in place and following it, so we do that. We haven't had any trouble.
They're so lovely. Which one would you choose, the Tarentaise or the Reading?
Oh, I think it would depend what mood I was in, but I'd love to try this one with some over potato, with some pickles melted. I reckon that'd go quite nicely.
Yeah, on a cold winter's day.
Yeah.
It works well for that.
I bet.
All right.
Spring Brook Farm has hosted thousands of children in their innovative education program and established a highly respected name in the world of specialty cheese. which has to be a first.
The cheese is vital. All the sales of the cheese goes right back into the Farms for City Kids Foundation, and it helps to support what we do. But I think importantly for the role of the kids, they see the end product. They're in the barn, they see the calves, they take care of the calves. The next day they're in the dairy barn, they milk the cow by hand, they see the milk go into the bulk tank. Years and years ago, before the cheese house, the milk left with to the milk co-op on a milk truck. But now they see it in the make room. They see the wheels of curd come out. They see the end product. We have a little cheese making experiment that we do with the kids over at the dorm, and they will take raw milk and actually make a wheel of cheese curd. And it all hits home. They see what goes into making food, making the end product. So they're in our aging room. They learn about the cheese making process. They're up in our gardens. They're tending to the vegetables and the fruit orchards. And in between the main chore times, we have what we call farm activities. And the farm activities employ a lot of hard physical work, so they understand the concepts of teamwork, perseverance, and responsibility. So when they leave, that's what they're going away with.